Good afternoon. It's the end of April 2021. It's a little bit nippy today, but a beautiful sunny day. It's supposed to go up into the 70s. Looking forward to it. And I thought I would make another video. I've had some requests about following progressively through some of the figs that I grow, showing them at different times, different years. It's a pretty interesting concept, actually. And so I'm doing that, and I'm going to be doing a number of videos on several different varieties that I want to talk about this year. This is a San Pedro type that I have talked about in previous videos, so we can look at that progression that they're talking about, wanting to see. This San Pedro, you can find it in my videos. You can find it with the San Pedro in the title. There's several of them, actually, because it's one of my favorite trees. And I think it's an undervalued tree, an underappreciated tree. This is a Desert King, which I like to call a Dessert King, which I think the original name was in California many, many years ago, when it created a tremendous sensation in California, mainly because of it's a Breba crop, its first crop, which is exquisite and delicious. They're large, they're plump, they're heavy. They have a sort of like a honeyberry flavor, if you want to categorize it that way. I find them exquisitely delicious, and probably the best thing about them, besides just being an exquisite fig, is that the Breba crop is its main crop, because the main crop, the second crop, falls off without caprification. So if you're in an area with caprification, you get the benefit of getting a very, very substantially large Breba crop, and as a bonus, you get a very large main crop. But of course, in my zone, in 7A and 7B, this is 7B here, I don't get that second crop. We don't have caprification, the fig loss, we don't have it. But it's okay, because on its own merit, just the first crop alone justifies growing this tree. It's very winter hardy, extremely winter hardy. I've had them for many, many years, the Dessert King, and I featured it before in my videos, and I want to feature it again today to just show you how productive this tree is. I want you to see it, and I will be showing it again several times throughout the season. So please, with that, let's take a look at this tree. Isn't it a beauty? I mean, how beautiful is that? It's just loaded with first crop figs, with Breba, on last year's wood. For those newbies out there, a San Pedro type fig tree produces, in our zones, it produces an abundance of Breba crop on last year's wood. And you can just see how numerous they are and how beautiful. And these are exquisite figs. On the new growth will be the main crop fig, which in this case will not pollinate. So they're all drop off. But as I said, the first crop figs justifies the existence of planting this tree, and the existence and the effort of planting this tree and maintaining it in your collection. But look at them. There's just so many. They're all over the place. As you can see, there's just so many figs to get ripe. Now, an important point here too is that these figs will all be ripe by the first week of July. They will start in the end of June, and most of them will be ripe on the 4th of July, and about a week later, they'll be gone. But tell me, where can you get exquisite figs that early in the season? You can't. They have to be Breba, and most Breba on most varieties really doesn't taste very good. They don't taste as good as the main crop figs. And that's a known fact about Breba. But it does not pertain to Desert King, often referred to as Desert King, because these Breba figs are just as exquisite as any main crop fig. They're just delicious. And so that's another added bonus. So I'm going to be talking to you more about this variety. I'm trying to encourage you to plant this variety in your yard, especially if you're in 7A and above. And this variety works wherever you plant it above 7A, in the ground. And often I have requests about figs, questions, what about figs in the ground versus, you know, the containers? And we don't always want to be coerced, forced to grow our figs in containers. Sometimes we want to be free to grow them in the ground. Here is a perfect example of a very, very winter hardy fig that you can put in the ground and get tremendous results, early results. It's hardy, it's disease resistant, it's nematode resistant. I sometimes get nematodes in this location, but this tree seems to be almost immune to them. And that's extremely important because nematodes is the #1 enemy, I think, in my opinion, of figs. Figs hate nematodes, and nematodes love the roots of figs. And they are destructive, highly destructive, wherever they occur. And this particular variety, for some reason, seems to be resistant, largely resistant to nematodes. Truly, I can tell you that I've had many varieties succumb to nematodes in the past. I've been growing figs for many years, for over 50 years. And I can tell you that many varieties just simply cannot hold up to nematode infestation. This particular variety does very well with nematodes. And this particular variety, this tree has been here for 25 years. This tree has been here a very long time, and I've cut it many, many times. You can see how large the trunks have been in the past. And it's still flourishing and still producing an abundance of delicious, exquisite figs. So, okay, with that, oh, look at that. I almost ignored the best part of this video. Come, hey there, what you doing? You listen to Pop? Oh, she's listening to me. Hey there, beautiful. I'll be with you in a second, don't worry. She wants my attention. Okay, I enjoyed making this video, and I'm going to be featuring several more varieties soon. I could move about in this yard. I have a lot of fig trees here, and they're all doing really well. But I'm going to break it up into smaller videos. So with that, I'm just going to let you guys out there listen to the seagulls. Take a look at the environment here by the bay. One that I love tremendously. The tide is halfway. It's coming in. They'll be coming up over the pilings over there pretty soon. What you see out there is some mussels and some oysters. And we get blue claw crabs coming in here. And there's, believe it or not, in the pond, in the creek, there's flounder come in, and bluefish, and jellyfish, and turtles, and sea turtles, all kinds of things. I see eels. I see just so many different forms of life here. It's full of life. And we have fiddler crabs, we have little stone crabs, and green crabs. It's just an interesting environment Beautiful, a beautiful day. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate that. I do not sell any figs. I do not sell any cuttings. These videos, all of the videos that I have made are for the public benefit. I hope that you benefit from them. I try to introduce as much information as I can. It's a vast subject, and actually the knowledge is accumulating in the subject even as I grow older, and as the enthusiasm grows for figs all over the world. There's new things that we can add to the existing information, and then there's a lot of misinformation that I have been trying to dissolve and tear down with my videos. And I've said to you before, and I'll say again, I make mistakes, we all make mistakes, but let's correct the mistakes that we make. And there's a lot of mistakes. For instance, and I'll close this video with this. I've heard on the YouTube, I've heard people say that they don't like the San Pedro type figs. Really? That they find no use for them. That they just stick to main crop figs. Really? I'm sorry. I think that's misinformation. And there's also, I've seen videos where people are cutting their trees down to the ground and covering them with straw and covering them with tarps for winter protection. Well, wait a minute. You don't get breba on new wood. You only get breba on old wood. Why on earth would anybody cut a fig tree down to the ground? Why would they do that? Okay, so you can look at my other videos on winter protection in 7B. This does not require winter protection. In 7A, where I have these two trees, I'll feature them next. No winter protection, and they did just marvelously, and I will feature them next on my next video. Yes, it's a good idea in 7A to protect your figs, to wrap them. It's a simple process. It's not very difficult to do, and I recommend it. I have videos on that subject too, but I will never ever advise you to cut your trees all the way down to the ground and therefore destroy any potential for breba. And of course, your main crop figs aren't going to be as bountiful either. You're not going to have a large crop if you cut your tree down to the ground. Hey, if you don't want to wrap your trees or protect them, then just let them stand the winter by chance. You know, if they survive, you're going to have breba, and you're going to have a larger main crop with better, more delicious figs, mature figs. Don't cut the tree down. Please, don't do that. So, many of my videos, the next few at least, are going to be discussing some of these misconceptions that I would like to try to correct. And again, I'm not saying I don't make mistakes. Of course I make mistakes, and I've made many mistakes. But we learn from our mistakes. Shouldn't we learn from our mistakes? I think we should. Okay. Thank you very much for viewing. God, it's beautiful out.